What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Logical, Plausible, Probable. This is a quick live stream to lead up to the Sal Cordova versus Dr. Dan debate that's about to go down over on Modern Day Debate at 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 Eastern. And I thought, hey, man, let's have a quick pre-game show, if you will, and get some people on here, see if they think it is going to go Dr. Dan, Sal Cordova. Who do you think is going to emerge the victor? Will it be a tie? Personally, I think last time was a little bit of a tie. I mean, it went both ways. I think it was pretty close first half of the debate for round one, and then the second half of the debate, I thought that Sal was definitely taking it to Dr. Dan and was definitely going strong, but the match got timed out because James had to take a break, and now they're having the backlash round to see who is going to emerge victorious. I know they're going to cover some interesting topics tonight. I know that Sal is going to be driving home some aspects of Fisher's theorem and the Muller limit, as well as genetic entropy and some of the other aspects of structural biology, which obviously significantly challenge the standard talking points of neo-Darwinism and modern synthesis. So if this is just going to be a live stream, I'm not here to have crazy debate with a bunch of folks. I'm wanting to invite people on to discuss what they think is going to happen. So I just posted the link to the live stream in chat. So if you want to come on and share your opinion about what you think is going to happen, feel free to do so. And looking forward to talking to y'all. While we're waiting for some folks to hop on the show, I've been kind of fascinated this past 24 hours of the reaction by different atheist evolutionary activists, if you will, to the live stream I had with Sal yesterday about the probabilities of proteins and how it relates to abiogenesis and then ultimately to evolution. And it's kind of funny, some of the standard talking heads started posting all of these comments about it. It was mind-blowing to me because they were completely misinterpreting the entire point of what was being presented, while even after I called them out, like, hey, did you guys actually watch the entire live stream we had yesterday? They claim that they did, but then continued to cling to the premise that what was being argued was not anywhere close to what was being argued. So it was kind of interesting, and I think it really continues to provide evidence for the argument that I make that Darwinism and ultimate evolution as well, but Darwinian theory really requires you to suspend rational thought and also refuse to even consider any pieces of evidence that do not conform with your worldview. Now, anybody who wants to come on to talk about the upcoming debate, hey, come on, folks. We've only got 1 hour and 10 minutes before that debate goes live. If you want to come on the show right now and share your thoughts on who you think is going to win, go ahead and click the link. I'm putting it in the live chat again. Come share your thoughts on who is going to win tonight's debate. All right, link is in the chat if you want to come on and share your thoughts about the upcoming Mono e Mono challenge. Oh, looks like we got a guest. Let's see who it is. Oh, Jungle Jargon's coming in. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
What's up, John? How you doing?
Oh, hanging in there, man. Hey, so got a live stream pre-show going on, leading up to Sal and Dr. Dan's debate. What do you? How do you think it's going to go down? Do you think it's going to be another tie? Do you think it'll be Dr. Dan's going to come out on top? Sal, what's your prediction?
Well, according to the evidence, creation always comes out on top, and it's just a matter of being able to get it across to them efficiently and effectively. in order for them to see what the truth is, what the facts are.
That's very good point. All right, so like, since I know you were watching the live stream I had with Sal yesterday, and so question for you: at any point, did you feel that the argument was being made that all proteins came from the same sequence?
No, obviously not, because
Okay.
I mean, there's no such thing as an evolution of proteins.
Well, the reason I ask is the apparently Call Me Emo and CRISPR-9 and a few others somehow came to the conclusion that that was what was being argued yesterday when Sal was making his presentation about the intricacies of the proteins and the different components and the data sets and the sub data sets that are built into the overall protein structure. And I'm like, what are y'all talking about? I mean, I don't think we ever made that point. We're actually implying that it wouldn't be able to be accomplished without it being pre-built.
Right.
I don't know. I was kind of at a loss of where they were deriving that. Just wanted to make sure I wasn't misinterpreting or had not been paying attention to what Sal had said yesterday.
Yeah, each one is specific to the organism, and they're sometimes interchangeable, sometimes not, but they're very specific.
Yeah, it's right before you came on, I was going a little rant about how I feel like evolution, Darwinian theory, atheism, both of them, so they force the suspension of rational thought to such an extent that people are even misinterpreting arguments. It's like nothing in that insert whatever the argument is. No, nothing about what I just said remotely equals what you're claiming it does. How are you coming to this conclusion? And then they say, no, yes, you did. It's like, what are you talking about? Not even close to what we were arguing. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, they have to be irrational, and they have to straw man you, because that's their position. They have no evidence. They can only attack our position.
Yeah, I was watching the Braxton Hunter over on Trinity Radio. I was watching his review of the Matt Dillahunty and Ray Comfort debate.
Yeah.
And it was interesting, kind of, as he was going through and kind of diving into it, the number of times that Dillahunty was just completely dismissing the overarching question because it didn't fit his worldview. Oh, well, that's just wrong. Why would you ever consider that? It's like, well, you're here's why. Nope, that doesn't apply to me. It's like, well, that's not the epitome of arrogance. I don't know what is. If you're just going to be the arbiter that says, yeah, I get to decide what is and is not valid. I mean, that's kind of makes you the instigator and the initiator of all objective morality, which I find ironic given the fact that atheists claim that there isn't, or not all, but a significant portion claim there is no objective absolute truth.
Right. And if there is no objective truth, then there's nothing they can objectively tell us, So
exactly.
Yeah, they have to.
Hey, before I forget, man, congratulations on your retirement. How is the first day of retirement treating you?
It's good. I'm still on my first day. I'm just kind of hanging around waiting for everything to fall into place so I can move out to the Midwest and sell my house here in New Jersey.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're going to get out of Jersey in mad taxation, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, in Missouri, there's not very much taxation, not near as much.
Do you have family in Missouri?
I have family in Kansas, which is not too far away.
Gotcha. It's interesting. I've got one of my brothers-in-law. He's from Missouri, and of course, his portion of Missouri was Missouri. They did that.
Yeah,
but No, I've been to Missouri quite a few times. It's I live over in Nashville, and so I've been to St. Louis a couple times. I've driven through, made those treks. I'll tell you what, when getting through, driving through Missouri and into Kansas, which I've done a couple times as well. Whew, that's about as if you're not all wired up on some energy drinks, man, almost guaranteed to pass out just from flatness, boredom, and counting the barns.
Yeah, and I've driven from Kansas straight to New Jersey,
Oof.
which is really rough. I mean,
So how are things going down in New Jersey right now with all the COVID stuff? Are you in one of the towns that's like having the hardcore shutdown, or are you in a little bit more of a sane area? What's happening in Jersey?
yeah, well, apparently now New Jersey is starting to clear up a little bit, while everywhere else is starting to have issues. For the first time or something. I don't know, but they're talking about a flare up out in the Midwest and the southern states especially. But in New Jersey, they're opening up a little bit. They're going to try to open up more, but they just said that they're probably not going to have indoor dining, indefinitely. They're not going to have indoor
I had seen
dining.
that, and I had seen that in New York. They're talking about that in Jersey as well, huh?
Yeah, which is the same kind of situation. Yeah.
I tell you what, I'm honestly beginning to have serious concerns about the sanity of our politicians, especially on like the local and state levels. Of just
Well,
are
speaking of
you actively attempting to cause complete implosion of civilization?
speaking of schizophrenic, they're like back and forth, as to what they should do. Oh, it's
Mm-hmm.
okay to demonstrate. Oh, now you have to lock down, and they can't make up their mind. It seems.
Well, here it's so crazy. So here in Nashville, a couple weeks ago, we had a pretty sizable. We actually had quite a few. We had multiple very, very large protests. But the very first one was publicly endorsed, and people were invited to attend by the mayor's office. Okay,
Yeah.
so the morning before this, he had given his last daily press conference about the whole deal, telling people to not get too close, social distancing, no no more than 25 people together in the same place, all that kind of stuff. And then that afternoon issues a press release and social media post inviting people to come to a gigantic protest the next day. I'm like,
Yeah.
if this isn't the literal epitome of hypocrisy, I do not know what is. I mean, nothing can get more be a greater embodiment of hypocrisy than to be like, do as I say, but not as I do. Not figuratively, literally. And we're seeing that in the mayor of Chicago. I have to be on camera. I need to get my hair cut. Things like that. Like, what? Yeah, are you kidding me? This is insane. Nicholas, welcome. Shalom, brother.
Hello, shalom. Congratulations, Jaguar, on the retirement.
Yeah.
Yes. Jaguar's getting to prepare for going into mindless degradation of relaxation. Although I wager that he's going to be. I imagine that that relaxation will last for a little bit, and then you'll try and go figure out something else to do. Is what I guess.
I don't even know where the mindless part comes from. I don't see that happening with him.
I have
Nope.
a lot of things lined up that I would like to do. Yes, as a matter of fact.
That's awesome, man. All right, so Nicholas, what are your predictions for the upcoming debate? We got 59 minutes to go, folks, before Sal Cordova and Dr. Dan Stern Cardinal from come back for their second round debate on evolution, creationism, genetic entropy, neo-Darwinism, all sorts of things. So what do you think is going to happen in tonight's debate, Nicholas? What's your prediction?
Well, I think Dan will make his case look good. I don't know how good it'll be. Last time, the graph that turns into a sine wave, do you remember what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
species die-off graph. I didn't see any reason that would completely level out. Instead of a sine wave would start, but it would still be tilted up. So Dan and I discussed that for maybe almost like an hour or something in side chat one day. And we agreed that it comes down to the math. And then I don't see how the statistical math is anywhere on his side that mutations. What that boils down to is the minimum degradation or the minimum entropy. So if there is a minimum entropy that's still rising, then that line's still going to rise. And given the extreme tiny odds of a mutation doing anything useful in the mechanics or in the code, then the line would still have to rise. So I sort of used an intuitive description of the math of how complex it must be by the time it's down on the genetic level. And he didn't really have any math to come back with.
Yeah, it really is interesting to me how when you actually start to truly analyze what are the foundational premises of Darwinism and modern synthesis and all those different aspects to it, and the reliance on homologies and paleontology and the plethora of assumptions that are necessitated to be accepted prior to the application of mathematics. And it's like, oh, these things must be true. Now let's create our formulas. And it's one of those whole things of the jokes about statisticians of you can make the stats say whatever you want kind of thing. I feel like that's what we are observing in modern in evolutionary biology. That dependence on this not just being, it's not a science, it's a worldview, it's a mindset, it's a answer to your existence, and people are very hesitant, both from the academic and the professional perspective, to potentially challenge the status quo, but also just from their own personal worldview. If I answer these questions, and if I research these questions and find answers that do not fit my worldview, will I be willing to accept them? What do you think? What do you guys think about that as being a kind of an assessment of where we run into so many barriers in the conversations with our atheist and evolutionary interlocutors?
Yeah, they're always looking to pick apart our position, but all they have to do is just step back and look at the whole picture and see how everything fits together, see how much evidence there is for even a young earth and for creation, and that nothing can make itself. Everything has to have a cause, and every cause has to be greater than the effect, a greater source, greater power, greater intellect than what results that we see. So it's really not that complicated, and you do have to be rational, you do have to be logical, and you have to follow the evidence where it leads. And if you can't get, everything is from power. You have it takes power to make matter, and matter is the result of a greater amount of power than what it takes to make it. And then where does that power come from? It comes from an infinite potential, ultimately, which is the definition of the biblical God, all-knowing, all-powerful, and eternal, which is what God is. And people they like to deny gods, say there's no gods, and there's no gods, but then they don't even know how to define a God as a power, a real power, or force, or kingdom, or whatever. It is a power. It is to be respected. And they're saying they don't exist because they don't know how to define what a God is.
Yeah, it really is. It's kind of funny to me when you really start to dive into the just from the aspect of existence of the how stunningly improbable and implausible it is for us to exist without the intelligent agent. Yet the atheist finds it more difficult to understand how God could exist, or to accept that God could exist. But they're willing to accept the alternative, which is, in my opinion, much harder to truly accept.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute. You're saying that it's easier to accept this side of the equation rather than the obvious one of the answers to the question?
And it seems like they won't let up until there's an exact mathematical model. I mean, the models they have now, those are formed. We're just coming out of the myth of junk DNA and all the mathematical complexities in the mechanics. They're not even being factored in yet. But even with what we know so far, the idea that you can fit random mutations going through an unguided, but through, I think they call it an unguided process. So they sometimes try to take the randomness out altogether. That's not true. You have randomness first and you select from that. So you got to keep that in there. But even so, the mathematical impossibility is like comparing a swimming pool to trying to pour all of that water into a coffee mug all at the same time. And it's just that it'd be silly if you like wanted me to measure the water in the swimming pool to prove to you that it doesn't fit in the coffee mug. But it looks like that's the point that we're going to have to be at, is like an exact measurement of that in order to shut up the absurdity.
Well, in line with what you're saying there, I mean, what really I find funny, and you're directly alluding to this in regards to the ongoing mutation requirements, just from the mathematics. It's like, okay, so abiogenesis mathematically is, in any other perspective, would be considered zero, right? I mean, yes, you can have a bazillion zeros, 1.1, and yes, okay, Corey, it's theoretically there's a chance, but in any other context, it would be considered zero from an actual practical perspective. But then when you start to, even if you accept that, then when you extrapolate out the sheer volume of those mutations that you're referring to that must be positive, that must be selected for, so on and so forth, I doubt it's even possible to do that calculation of what that would actually require from a probabilities perspective. I mean, because you're talking about billions upon billions upon billions of variables in between species, like all the different like body plan types, life forms, kingdoms, phylums, class, etc. I mean, I doubt that number is even calculable.
Right, because a lot of the different organisms will share different things, different characteristics. Like we'll share some proteins and characteristics with gorillas, but not chimps. And then other ones we share with chimps and not gorillas. And then also the other apes. It's just like, it's not like you can say that everything there's a clear picture of what came from what, because everything's being shared by different organisms, as far as proteins and different things.
Yeah, and I think this comes back to the philosophical side of the equation too. Like, it's very easy to get completely consumed by the math and the science and the biology and the genetics and all these different pieces of the puzzle, and you're just hyper focused on one. But I think it's all doing that in an attempt to either explain or to counter oftentimes blinds you to the overarching big picture of our existence. What are the fundamental requirements, and what is the is there meaning and purpose for our existence? And so many just refuse to even consider those questions and shut their minds off and don't even want to talk about. Hey, Rob, Matt, what's up, man? Thanks for coming in and joining us, buddy. Hey, so you want to come on and share your thoughts about what you think is going to happen in tonight's Backlash debate round 2, Sal Cordova versus Dr. Dan. Matt, I'd love to get your opinion and tell us a little bit about the books that you and SFT have just published. If you want to come on and tell us a little about those and where people can get your new publications, please feel free to hop on. Link is in the chat. Love to have you guys come on and tell us about that, or just you if SFT is also not available. And oh, Smokey Saint is in the house. We got Refined Living, not Grillixy Panda. I don't think I've seen you before. Welcome to the channel, and appreciate you stopping by. Gavin, what's up, brother? I hope you're doing well. And anybody who's in the chat who wants to come in and share their predictions, thoughts, expectations about tonight's round 2 debate over on Modern Day Debate, feel free to hop in and share your thoughts about what you think is going to happen in tonight's debate. But something else I have been contemplating a little bit in this whole things that have been leading up to these kind of debates that we're talking about now. I really am considering doing a analysis of some of the arguments that are made by our, shall we say, more credentialed opponents, the ones who at least claim to be working in high-level academia, doing research, have their PhDs, etc., and then argue that we don't know what we're talking about. And so what I've been thinking about doing is analyzing their arguments and then making formal requests of their peers to analyze if they agree with their positions. But talk about that in a minute. The one and only Raw Matt has joined us. Thanks for taking the time to hop on the channel, man. How you been doing?
Pretty good, man. Just busy. You know how it is.
Well, I know you and SFT have been kind of going burn the candle at both ends, doing videos and getting everything ready for the new books that are coming out. And I think one just came out, and then the second one is coming out either today or tomorrow. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. It's a longer book, so it takes longer for it to get approved. It's much larger, so
tell us a little bit. Tell the audience a little bit about the different books, the topics, and what why people should buy, what their expectations are, and where they can get them.
All right, sure. Yeah, they're going to be on Amazon. We have a lot of books already out, but they're not a physical, tangible book. So we figured let's give something for people to actually read, because a lot of people, they spend enough time on the computer. It's better for their eyes to just have something to read. So we're like, well, we can both attack a book at the same time, but that gets a little harder because now we're writing over each other. We might repeat something. So we figured let's just do our own kind of thing. So Standing for Truth busted out his own. It's called Universal or Separate Ancestry, and it's the biblical model of origins made easy. So it's kind of for everybody. And that one's already up. It's on Amazon, but we haven't really advertised it yet. So I just finished a video. I uploaded it onto his channel, so he's going to approve it, see if it looks any good, and then I'll get to work on mine.
Awesome. So what's yours going to be about?
Well, 2 of them.
Oh, it's 2. Okay. Oh man, okay. I didn't know there was 2. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going for 2. I'm always trying to make my first one. It's really, really large. It's probably, I think, 350 pages. That one's done. It's just waiting for approval, and I'm working on the next one right now. But this one's trying to cover a little bit of everything. It's just called the Young Earth Creation Model. And what I do is I give multiple examples of multiple predictions, multiple different varieties of models from different people, and just kind of go down the list of all of our predictions that have been made and that are coming to fruition now.
So you're kind of, and that one sounds like you are really trying to address one of the most common standard talking points of testable predictions, testable, repeatable predictions that we hear from, and creationists are doing no science, all that kind of standard talking points. That you're kind of trying to directly address those kinds of arguments.
Yes, exactly. I always find that I basically, when I write a book, I write it for other people so that they can have access to something so that they can get answers. I usually don't write it for the critic. I write it for our side so that they can have answers to the critic. I'm not trying to, atheists don't care. They're not interested. They're trying to figure out where is there a hole in your argument so I can expose it. They're not interested in trying to actually get answers. So I'm trying to help everybody that wants to know how to answer these hard problems come up. So I even threw in all kinds of predictions of my own in the book. So it'll be good. I think it'll be fun for somebody to actually have something. I threw Jason's theory in there. I think it'll be all around pretty good. It's and then the next one will be actually pretty funny. It's called the Evolutionary Rescue Device Handbook. And I'm sure you've heard of every rescue device that they have. So this one is really going to just expose that. I think that'll be fun because the more you ask questions, the more you get rescue devices, not answers. So why not expose that? That's a huge weakness that they have. They can't really. Okay, you guys are talking about the debate that's coming up tonight, right? How is Sal going to deal with this? Well, what he needs to do is he needs to differentiate the differences between improbabilities and what's logical. So, for example, have you guys ever heard of the infinite monkey theorem? What that is,
I am unaware of that one.
Okay, what it is it's an evolutionist paradigm that they came up with, that they said that primates typing randomly on a computer would eventually make Shakespeare.
I was aware of that. I didn't know it was called the infinite monkey theorem. Okay, I know what you're talking about. Hey, Shakespeare, the whole volume of Shakespeare is going to come out magically if we give it enough time. That's the kind of the source of the with infinite time and infinite possibilities, then anything is possible kind of argument.
Yeah, there's a much better chance of the monkeys typing Shakespeare than there is of the simplest cell coming together the informational requirements.
Oh yeah,
well, that's very true. But sorry for us for interjecting there, Matt. Keep going.
Oh no! I was just giving my opinion on what this upcoming debate's probably going to look like. So I'm in the group now. It doesn't matter. Just treat me like everyone else now. I was just jumping in there, telling everybody about the books that are coming out because I think that's pretty unique that we're going after it now. We don't just want one book. We're going down hard. We want 6 of them at least on every topic. So why not? That's going to be easy.
Yeah, it really is. The more you really kind of go down the proverbial rabbit holes, as a saying goes, and you look past the surface level of the talking point arguments, and you counter them, and then reverse the line of questioning back onto the opponent. I found it extraordinarily fascinating how quickly they collapse and become very often angry. Because I wonder how much of that stems directly from the realization that they've got nothing, and they just expect everybody to surrender to them. But it really, just from my own perspective, I find it very interesting how it's like, that's all you got, really? I don't know if what do you guys think about that?
Well, yeah, because what is the reason for getting absolutely unhinged and threatening somebody's life over something that's so mundane? You claim it doesn't bother you. You claim, who cares about creationism? And then all of a sudden they're absolutely unhinged because you went against what they believe. They're like a communist. It's pretty crazy.
Well, in line with that, it's one of the things I find so funny about the aggressive dismissal of Pascal's wager. And I think it applies exactly what you were talking about there. It's like, they get so worked up over Pascal's wager and claim that it's just completely ridiculous. Like, why would you ever even consider this? And try to just dismiss and debunk it, while simultaneously doing exactly what you're talking about, of flipping out about something that, in theory, if they're correct, has zero bearing on their existence or their ultimate eternal outcome. It's like, why are you so angry about this? Just go away. If you don't want to engage, don't. It's
yeah, they hunt it down. They hunt down the topic that angers them the most. It's pretty crazy.
I really wonder how much of that stems from a innate lack of self-confidence. You know, it's interesting how different folks I've interacted with, you can tell that they do not have the self-confidence, self-worth, sense of self-worth to actually do real analysis of something like this. Because, you know, as much as they like to frame it, oh, this is nothing but science, right? No, this is actually philosophy. Like, there's a humongous philosophical component to this, and you can try and ignore it and say that there isn't one, but that doesn't mean that it actually isn't there, you know. And I find that pretty telling in a lot of their reactions.
Oh, for sure. Matter of fact, the reactions are one of the easiest ways to expose what it is, and I think that matter of fact, Sal would be better at it if he wasn't just so agreeable. He agrees with people that disagree with him. Like, it's like, whoa, you realize you're in a debate, right? You just completely agree to something that you don't actually believe. But he'll get better at debating. You know, he's good.
Yeah, but if he gets on a rant, he'll start ranting though. Yeah, he'll do that.
Yeah, well, see, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I agree with you, Matt, that Sal is a nice guy. He's too nice. However, it'll be interesting to see if Dan triggers him tonight, because if he does, that will not go well for him, for Dan. Because it'll be a no holds barred. I've been being nice. Fine. Do you really think this? Or then download, which I think would be. I think that would be hilarious. It would. I would greatly enjoy. Yeah, I'll greatly enjoy watching that if that ends up happening.
Do you know what he's coming out with? Is he got a new, introduction that he's going to be presenting to everybody, or is it going to be based off their first one? They just kind of continue.
I think there'll be portions of the first one, and then just kind of extenuating some different pieces. 'Cause part of the deal that is going to be happening is, and you know, so kind of, well, he didn't just. He directly stated this, that part of the reason he was breaking out some of the math in a couple of the lectures he's done on here on my channel over the last couple weeks is to basically fire the warning shot, if you will, of, do you really want to go down this route, kind of thing. Of I've got the math to back it up, baby. It's kind of the direction. So I'll be interesting. That's why I'm saying I think it's be very interesting to see in the counterpoint portion from Dan's perspective. I'll be very interested to see if he actually tries to debunk or dismiss some of Sal's points, or if he recognizes, because I know he was watching some of those live streams that Sal and I did. I wonder if he's going to try and gloss over some of the direct counter punches that will be guaranteed to come if he tries to dismiss some of the fundamental portions of Sal's arguments.
Right. Sal coming with a lot of different arguments, because that can end up being kind of, they won't get to it. You know what I mean? You can easily just say, oh, well, Sal's talking about the ocean, and the guy goes, well, let's talk about the sky. You got to really, in a debate, it's kind of focusing the attention on one topic for the most part.
Yeah, you got to pin them down, because they're always running, from one thing to another.
I think Dan mostly wants to focus on some of the stuff that Sal has worked on with Dr. Sanford, and and he never got to address as many details of that topic last time as he wanted to. So I think Dan's going to kind of be deciding what he wants to try to refute. Is sort of the approach.
That'll be fun. Yeah. Sanford never really debates. I've never seen him online do a debate. That would be cool, though, to have him pop on and do something. But didn't Sal say he has some heart condition and lung problems right now?
Yeah.
His health is definitely in decline for sure. I mean he's in his I believe he's late 70s now, mid to late 70s.
Yeah, darn, it's too bad.
I think maybe some supplements would do them good sometimes when they start losing their health. Or no, I don't know.
I
Some
agree,
good,
man. I actually called him, left him a message, told John to call me back. I have ideas.
yeah,
I just
yeah,
wanted
because I know. I mean, even my father that recently passed away, I know that if if he had some, decent supplements and some good attention, medical attention, that he would have been able to live longer. I mean, not from the doctors.
right.
You know,
That's too bad, man.
yeah. But in the scheme of things, in God's plan, it's not all that bad. It's because we're all headed there anyway. And it's not too long, and we'll all be there too.
Very, very true. Looks like Smokey Saint just joined us. I saw you're in chat. You come in and say a quick
Yeah.
minute before you have to go recharge. Sound like you need to go get some dinner, right?
Food. I just wanted to say hi to you guys because I don't think I ever met Raw Matt before, so I just wanted to say hi to him and introduce myself. How you doing, brother?
Hey, Smokey, how's it going, man?
Oh, I'm doing well, man. Doing well. We haven't been introduced, but I did a couple debates with Maddox here. Saw you pop in. Figured you knew all of them, so I just say hi to you and wish you guys to have a fun night and enjoy the debate and all that.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I don't join too many live streams. I'm just so busy with things, but I try.
Gotcha. No, totally. Well, I hope all you guys have a good night, man. Thanks for letting me in to say hi. I just wanted to say a quick word.
No worries, man. You have a good one. Talk to you later, man.
Take care.
Later. Yeah, this will be a good debate tonight. Sal knows his content. I don't know why he talks so slow sometimes. Like he doesn't have to give an instructional to this guy. This guy already knows the content. He just needs to just bury him, just go fast.
Well, hang on. I think in some aspects, I think you're giving him too much credit.
Oh,
well, also Sal's explaining it so the audience can follow it and enjoy it and learn and be entertained too.
Man, I get I completely agree with the point you're making. I was more making a little aside at Dr. Dan, but because the reason I said it, they're in where that who was the after show that he was on? I forget now, but part of that discussion, there were multiple points that he was putting forth as like fact that I know beyond doubt have been debunked. And he was arguing them as as completely accepted premises. So it's like, okay, if you're gonna go down that rabbit hole with something that I know has been relatively cast aside, then maybe you're not quite as, you might be knowledgeable about it, very hyper specific things, but not necessarily as much about the overarching components of the theorem.
I see.
And I've actually started to notice that quite a bit in some of these different, in the higher level conversations, that a lot of these folks don't seem to have much understanding of anything outside of like this particular point. Like they're all in on this one little segment, and it's like, okay, cool, but how do you apply this logic that you're defending as 100% fact? How does that logic actually apply when you insert it into 17 additional layers that are all interdependent upon this?
Yeah, good point.
Like how in what other context would you dismiss this, or say that this is the answer when it doesn't even account for the, a bazillion other layers that are above and below. I mean, but I wonder how much of that stems from just the sheer interdependent complexity that is life, that is beyond the comprehension of, I would say, even the most intelligent person, right? When you really think about it, like, do we even have the capacity to truly comprehend life in all of its glory? I don't think so.
Well, when they found that the microbiome that's inside the human beings is so big, you couldn't even imagine how large the microbiome is. It's incredible. If people started to realize the vast universe that's inside the body, they would be in awe and spectacular, and they wouldn't be like, "Wow, that's just amazing how that happened randomly by chance." They wouldn't even consider that conceivably possible.
I was surprised at the number of proteins in a single cell. Something like what is it, 2 point something million or a billion, or what is it? Something crazy. It's a crazy number.
I think in some aspects they project that there can be in the billions of individual proteins in a cell, because I know, like, for example, I've read projections of 2 to 10 million just ribosomes.
Wow.
I mean, when you think about that out in the cytoplasm, so when you
Yeah,
think
I
about
thought-
that, of wait a minute, and but the ribosome itself has interdependent parts, right? It's not just one. There's 80 parts. Actually more than that, depends on the particular type. But when you really think about that, if we're just accounting for the ribosomes, holy moly, what else is going on in here?
Yeah,
SFT is in the house. What's up, brother?
Hey, my good brothers. Good to see everybody. How's everyone doing tonight?
We're good.
Hanging in there. Sorry to cut you off there, Jungle.
Boom.
Sorry to cut you off there, Jungle. What was that last point you were making there?
It was just 2-point-something billion proteins in a single cell, and I just didn't know if that was a typographical error, if it was actually what it is, and I guess it's correct. This is in the billion, 2-point-something billion proteins.
Well, when you think about the fact that we have I know it ranges somewhat, but like I've seen stuff like 40 quadrillion cells. I mean, having a couple billion proteins per cell is not really that outlandish of a prediction if you're thinking about it just from the sheer number of cells, But all right, so SFT, glad you're able to join us, man. What are you thinking about tonight's debate? Do you think it's going to go Sal, Dan? What's your predictions and projections of how this is going to be received?
Oh, you want some future testable predictions, eh? Well, I guess that is the gold standard of science. So I'm excited for it because I think there were kind of a lot of topics that were brought up in the first debate that were kind of left unaddressed, left undiscussed. I think Sal's I think he's prepared. I think I agree with Raw Matt. I think he needs to be a little bit more adamant, assertive, and aggressive. But he's now had a couple debates under his belt with Ron Garrett and Dan from a week ago. So I'm predicting that Sal's I think he's gonna do good. I'm pumped for it. So as you were saying, John, right? He's been doing a few streams and lectures the last couple days, kind of like a warning. You sure you want to go down this road? But yeah, no, it's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And Matt was telling us a little bit about the books coming out. You got any specific things about your book that just got published you want to let the audience know about?
Actually, yeah, awesome. We just got them approved just last night. So if you go into my community, you can see a post that I left with the links to the Amazon.com, Amazon.ca. So I believe Brother Matt's going to be putting out probably more of a trailer soon where more people can be aware of it. But it's the first of many. I mean, Raw Matt can tell you we are already on a couple more handbooks. Just try and put out as much solid information as possible. So I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to give that plug, Brother John.
I know we've had a few new people come in since Matt was telling us about them. What your book? Give us a little. What's the content? What is the subject matter, and why is it going to be helpful to folks?
So good question. Yeah. So the title I gave this one is Universal or Separate Ancestry: The Biblical Model of Origins Made Easy. So my goal was to take that which is, I guess, really technical, really detailed, and kind of condense it in a more understandable way. So the way that I lay out the book is kind of going through the evolutionary model itself, going through the competing explanations, and I end it all with kind of the model itself, the differentiating evidence. So I think, and I've made sure, and Matt as well with his book, they're very similar. Matt's is more an expanded version of mine. But I've made sure that it's the most up-to-date information, especially in the realm of genetics and molecular clocks and DNA function, ENCODE, ERVs, and stuff. So I think it's going to cover a lot of topics that a lot of people may not have read too much about it in books. So yeah, I don't know. What about you, brother Matt? What do you think? What are your thoughts? I got Matt. He's written a foreword for my book, so he's been involved.
Before Matt talks, I want to make a quick joke. So, just for everybody who doesn't know this, the reason that SFT is writing the booklets and Raw Matt is writing the books is that Matt does not have the ability to write less than 300 pages.
Correct.
Like his so there had to be a little bit of a like, okay, all right, I'll handle the booklet. You handle the books. But yeah, of course, I'm just messing with you guys. But I talked to Raw Matt about this probably a couple months ago. I was like, man, you should really start thinking about like breaking some of your books down into like more shorter stuff, because this stuff is deep, man. And, I was cracking. Even in my conversation, it was cracking me up. You could tell he was like, yeah, but it's complete. But it's complete.
And the thing is, sometimes we may, and you, John, too, right? Well, the way we'll talk, maybe the way we explain things, or the words we use, it may not always be 100% understandable. So sometimes it is good to bring it down to, a 4th or 5th grade level, as Bill Morgan and Kent say. I think that's a good idea. So that was kind of my goal with, I mean, it's still technical, but I would say it's about 500 pages worth of information condensed into, just over 100 pages. And what's funny is those 100 pages still took me 6 months worth of gathering information and putting it into my own words and whatnot. And Matt's just a beast. He can write 300 pages overnight. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah, I just finished the second one already.
They're looking for a link.
I haven't even finished my introduction to the second one. Matt's already finished the entire second one.
They're looking for a link to the books online. They can't find a link.
I just put them there for everybody.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Yeah, I'm on my phone right now. It's like we just finished dinner. The kids I'm outside. It's a little more quiet, but bedtime is soon. It's been a good day, so I'm looking forward to putting the kids down for the night and relaxing, listening to the debate. We've got the after show on my channel at we're gonna put it for 11, John. So praise, he's gonna do a solid template, and I'm probably just gonna sit back and relax for most of it and just kind of give everybody else the platform to talk about the debate.
And just so everybody knows, the StreamYard today, actually like 2 hours ago, just rolled out. You can have up to 9 guests simultaneously. So
there you go.
Wow.
The 6-person,
I said 10 on
the
my way
6-person limit's going bye-bye. So you'll be able to, it's 10 total, including that. So 9 plus the host.
Now we can all talk over each other.
Exactly.
That'll be a good train wreck. 10 people.
Let's make sure we get the 9 most talkative creationists in the same room at the same time.
Oh my god!
I don't even want to wait my turn through 9 people. You'll find me inside chat.
So, brother Nicholas, are you tomorrow? You and Snake? Snake was right. Did you want to plug that one in and let people know?
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. Yeah, tell us about your debate, Nick.
Oh yeah, well, it sounds like we're gonna do it over at Smoky Saints channel because it sounds like you're full SFT, and
It depends if I'm supposed to debate tomorrow at 9. David Neff on human evolution. So he's wanted a round 2 since our first debate, which was I think over a month ago now. So actually we've had this one scheduled for a while. But I mean, we could hypothetically do it after. It's just I'm not sure what your guys' schedules are like. Smokey's a blessing that he's willing to have it on his channel. So it's really up to you, brother.
Yeah, right now Snake scheduling it as far as I know. So we'll see.
So what are you guys going to be? So what's your all's debate topic going to be?
Is the God of Christ likely? And that's likely as opposed to probable, because probable is where you contrast a quantitative possibility, and instead we're comparing. I'm going to be comparing a qualitative possibility, that is comparing the quality of existence to the teachings about Jehovah, that Jehovah is the source of existence. So there'll be some logical argument involved. Yeah, it'll be an interesting one. I'm coming at it from a few different angles, so we'll see if we have time to go into all of my arguments or just by big argument, and we'll see.
And what time, tentatively, what time is that one scheduled for over on Smokey's channel?
No one has told me anything about time yet.
Okay. So I'm assuming it'll probably be sometime after, say, 7 p.m. Eastern, more than likely.
Yeah, I think something like that is the time that Snake works on. So
okay. All right. Well, that should be for anybody who's ever watched Snake's interactions, I'm sure that will be definitely be an interesting one. Oh man, look who's joining us. We got the one and only Guzman. 1611's coming to join us. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Not much. How are you guys doing?
Hanging in there. Hanging in there. All right, so we're coming down to the wire on the upcoming debate. So what is your prediction about Sal versus Dr. Dan Backlash round 2?
Well, I'm still watching the first one. I'm getting around to it. I think it's going to be a pretty fruitful discussion. I've been liking the interaction of the first one. Yeah, that's really all I can say. I mean, yeah, I've been liking the interaction for the first one.
Actually, if I could say something real quick, Brother Guzman, great job on your debate with Godless Engineer, man.
Thanks.
I think I can speak for all of us. We're extremely impressed with your knowledge and the content you're putting out, man. You're going to be a future young Earth creation geologist or paleontologist or maybe all of the above. So keep up the good work, man.
Thanks, brother. I really appreciate it. Yeah.
And if praise happens to be in the house, his debate against Godless Engineer was also rather
really good.
interesting.
That was good too. Yeah.
I'll just say I'm going to use the word interesting to describe that one. Now Guzman's, I tell you the part that I cracked up more than anything was the moment where Godless Engineer realized he was about to flip out on a. Are you 15 or 16, Guzman?
I'm 14 actually.
You're 14. Oh my goodness, it's even worse. Okay, so he realized he was about to flip out on a 14-year-old and calm down. It was priceless.
It's always interesting with GE. GE makes it interesting.
He does. You know, it seems like he's trying to be a little bit more calm and collected. I did email him, though, because he's all about DNA is Coke, and he's always talking trash about genetic entropy. So I emailed him. I'm going to be honest with you.
To change the K to a D.
Right. I want to see if him and Sal, I want to see if he'd be willing to go at genetic entropy with Sal. That'd be I'd pay to see that one, to be honest with you.
Godless Engineer.
SFT, you guys someone's got to do a debate with Godless Engineer just called Coke or Code.
Yeah, Coke or Code. This Saturday.
I think
Sal versus.
That's gonna have to be me. That'll have to
be. Well, you're gonna be debating him. Hey, John, I'm telling you, man, you're Mr. Popular now. I've got Conspiracy Cats. He wants at ya. That'll be a good debate.
Yeah, he's been having a modern girl email me too, trying to get me to talk to him as well.
Oh, no. Oh, really? Oh, yeah. No. We got to get it on one of our channels. She was able to host the last two with me, but this time he's got to give us one. So that'll be a good debate.
Hey, Standing, were they able to publish your book today?
They were, yeah. Actually, last night, good news. The colored version was today. It just published, and then the black and white version was published last night. So I've actually got a few copies with me, and a copy of Matt's as well, just to look them over and make sure they're all good before they're officially sold. So we're pretty happy with them. Yeah, they look good.
Yeah, are they like? Nah, it's probably a dumb question, but like, what kind of paper do they use for it?
No, that's a good question. So that was the thing. So the first three that I ordered were black and white on. Well, Matt, what's that paper called? Like your typical book paper, just like
this, like this. like the printer paper or something like that?
No. It's like a professional book, like the Answers
Okay.
in Genesis books, the
right.
Genetic Entropy book, like that classic paper, like just looks like a novel book.
Yeah.
And then they give you the option where you can get full color and also like glossy paper.
Oh yeah, I know.
So really professional looking.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen the Replacing Darwin book in person, but it's full color. It's all glossy.
Oh.
So I decided, you know what, I'll do 2 versions. Unfortunately, it's really expensive to print the colored one, even on just a 100-page book. So that's why there's both options. If people want to spend a couple extra bucks and get the colored, that's cool. If they want to just get the black and white one just for the information content, they can do that as well. So both options are there.
Hey, so standing, he who shall not be named. Thanks, at Standing for Truth. I love how you gather all the wrong into one place for me. And then he says, I also expect a refund.
Well, you can use paper, so.
On the back of the book, it says no refunds allowed. Refunds to everybody except for Speed of Sound. I mean, he's had 3 chances so far to prove me wrong. He's been 0 for 3. I mean, maybe we'll give him a 4th chance. No, he's funny. He cracks me up.
Yeah.
He's your best buddy, John.
I do not know who you're referring to.
He who shall not be named. Actually, Brother Guzman, any word on? So we're really, me and Guzman are really close to getting Dr. Kevin Anderson, genius, absolute brilliant man, and Dan Cardinal to go at it hopefully next week.
Yeah. Well, I'm still waiting for his response. I still haven't gotten any word from him yet. I told him the format and that he'll be debating a PhD biologist, and I'm still waiting for a response to see if he's okay with the format. He's definitely okay with the debate. He just needs to agree on the format.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's going to be a good one. And John, I noticed that you're premiering our good old 2v2 tomorrow. You still laughing over that one or what?
Yeah, well, I decided to kind of stagger it, make sure we didn't steal views from MDD, and then you published. So I didn't want to steal from y'all, so then I figured, it's been enough time, and the atheists may have started to come down from the triggering that was initiated in that debate, and thought, you know what, it may be time to re-trigger some
re-trigger. I love it,
and get them going again. Because I tell you what, man, Team Skeptic, that dude, he acted exactly the way I predicted he would. I mean, it was like clockwork all the way through. I was cracking up.
That debate was one of the funniest I've ever. I'm telling you, especially re-listening to it, John. If you ask my wife, I was cracking up, especially near the end when they tried to say that sickle cell anemia was an example of, new novel information and forward evolution, even though it's the result of it results from a broken protein. And you said to him, Team Skeptic, I wonder if you even use your brain. And then and he just right away started tripping. Have you had a chance to watch that one, Guzman?
Well, I was actually watching the near end while it was live. I didn't get to watch a lot of it. It was just a lot of F-bombs in it. I didn't feel like watching it all the way through, but I did get some of it. And
yeah, he was, you know what? The first probably 45, no, I would say the first hour to hour and a half, there weren't too much F-bombs, but he just the atheist got more and more triggered because he came with just 2 lines of evidence. Well, pretty much one, ERVs. And it's like me and John, this is just peanuts to us. So we just demolished it right off the bat. And this is all, he put all his money on one argument, while John and I, we spent, 14 minutes probably covering 20 different lines of evidence, right? So they just got more and more triggered as the debate went on. Then the F-bomb started. So that's when it got a little crazy.
Well, I think I may have to accept responsibility for his triggering with the, I think I said something to the effect of, he was dumber than, or I was acting dumber than Forrest Gump, I think was the line I used. That really just sent him over the edge. And then in conjunction with, are you actually calling a disease a positive mutation? That's the one that really fascinates me about the whole sickle cell anemia excuse, or I said excuse, I mean evidence. It's like,
Evidence.
I don't know how many ways this has to be described as a disease. In what context? Who in their right mind views disease? Like, has that word ever had the definition to imply anything remotely positive? Ever in the history of the word? And if you go back to the very etymology of the word disease, has it ever been a positive? I'm just gonna go ahead and gamble that no. The answer is no. But you're going to sit here and argue that that's a primary example that proves evolution? Like, get out of here! You lost your mind.
It's unbelievable. Guzman, what are those memes you've been making? You're an evolutionist when you think disease is going to take your fish to fisherman or something.
Yeah, I was going to actually show that really quickly. So I was on a chat with Nephilim Free, and he brought up a pretty funny idea that I thought I'd just take and run with it. I only made one. Neph made like a whole bunch of them, but here, I'll just show it to you guys. Here we go. I'm going to screen share really quickly. Can I screen share here, or is it?
Yeah, just give me go ahead and do it, and
All right, there we go. All right. There you go. You're an evolutionist when you use a side effect of sickle cell anemia as an example of a beneficial mutation. So there you go.
It's the only thing they have. They don't have anything better.
Yeah. Standing. You're
That's my daughter. Yeah, she's an evolutionist. Actually, she's 3.5, and she believes bananas and whales are related. So we're gonna have to change that.
We can fix that. We can fix that.
We can fix that real quick. You want to debate?
Monkeys.
See, monkeys.
I hope she doesn't mean humans when she says that.
She's been watching. Oh, go ahead, Brother Guzman.
I'll assure you, she's talking about John right now. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I caught her last night watching Aaron Ra's phylogeny series. I said, not in this house.
Man, I tell you what, I've made it through a couple of the Aaron Ra's videos, but it usually takes me like 3 or 4 segments, like sessions, to make it through all of them, because it's just like I can only take. He just starts going like off the rails. And his anger builds up. It's like, dude, you're supposedly like outlining your position of why you think this. Why are you flipping out? Like nobody's even contradicting you right now. This is your video. You're the only one talking. You're reading a script. Why are you being triggered by your own script, bro? Like, calm down, man.
It just shows the instability of these people. I mean, they're just deep hatred for the God of the Bible.
Trying to sound convincing is what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
Well, what's funny is I have watched a lot of his videos on purpose just to kind of almost use their own arguments against them, because in one of his phylogeny videos, Aaron Ra made the point that genetics is so important in determining ancestry because species, there's oftentimes more variation within the same species than across species. So when you're looking at fossils and bones, it's hard without the genetics to actually determine ancestry, right? It's hard to tell what's the result of convergent evolution, for example. So he said that in his own video, and I've been using that on. I first used it on RJ Downard. I've used it on Conspiracy Cats, and it's effective every time. And I always say, hey, listen, your own hero, Aaron Ra, made this point, and he's totally right. So I don't know why you're looking at these bones in the dirt, you know?
Yeah.
Well, if you ever actually, let's get real. If the atheist evolutionists ever actually did a non-biased analysis of their own evidence, they would realize why we laugh at them.
Exactly.
I mean, it's like, congratulations, guys! You found a sliver of bone, and then you used a really creative, clay modeling kit from second grade to, model out what the rest of it must have looked like. And then, we saw striations in the bone, therefore there must have been muscles. It's, those stuff. It's like, cool, man. You just extrapolated out an entire body from a chunk of bone.
Yeah.
Kudos, bro. Congratulations. And one of the things that gets me more than anything about the skulls, it's like, okay, as my hair started thinning, I actually started paying attention to like, okay, what am I going to look like when I officially go bald? Like when I reached the point of, okay, it's time to shave my head, And when I started noticing that, I started realizing like stunning differences in human skull shape, just in humans. And I'm like, man, you could construe if you only had portions of a skull, you could construe all sorts of things if you wanted to. And again, if your objective is to prove evolution, then obviously you're going to construe that and extrapolate out that this must be evidence. Were you trying to say something there, Guzman?
No, I just say they do construe little bits of evidence.
Oh yeah,
well, picture
equate it to a forensic investigator. They can go over and they can find a body that's been in a river for only 3 days, and they cannot even reconstruct what happened to it, why it's there. They have to investigate every little detail, but yet they find a little tiny finger bone in a cave. They'll tell you everything about it.
And not only what it looked like, but what was the socioeconomic scenario in which this early stage human society must have lived too. Like, all from the finger bone. Like, kudos, guys. Y'all are amazing. Should become the most like, how is anybody get away with a crime if we can extrapolate out stuff? If we can forensically analyze things from 7 million years ago from a finger bone and figure out what was going on in the society from which the bone was derived, how the heck is anybody getting away with murder these days? It's amazing.
And the mate, not only the person that had the finger, but the mate of the finger too.
Well, that's true. And Matt, I'd love to get your opinion on this. In one of the interactions I had with, I think it was with Dan, I was talking about how we don't actually know how like the ratio length of like fingers and arms to the overall body and all that kind of stuff. We don't actually know how that happens, and he was dismissing that as having any real relevance to both evolution as well as just like, hey, this information and control mechanisms must be in place somewhere. Are you just arguing that your finger ratio is the same all the way throughout your life in each stage? You follow what I'm saying there?
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like, that's the Jason theory. He grabs the skulls of a little infant and he looks at it compared to an adult, and they're so drastically different, then you can extrapolate that, okay, well, if they've changed that much, how can you say that they're part of this species when you haven't determined what that species is? So what he's doing is he's kind of showing the inconsistencies, like, hey, how can you deem that this is the same species when they look so drastically different if there's no other intermediaries between the infant and the adult? Because we don't have genetics. So by what you're talking about is just like saying, well, arm length, for example. Well, pretty much every time you find a primate, you're going to find a pretty consistent shoulder, arm length, and everything. So what happens is when you find a human, you can determine whether or not they walked on their arms or whether or not they used them. You don't need the wrist joint to determine if it held its body weight on the wrist or if it walked on its knuckles. You can tell just by the arm length. And it's the same pretty much in the infant as well.
Yeah,
Well,
go ahead.
I think back in the day, wasn't it Nebraska Man, where they illustrated him solely based off of a tooth, and it turned out to be a pig's tooth. And I think in museums and textbooks and stuff, they had him and his wife. So it turned out that one single tooth, which turned out to be a pig's tooth, now they know what, supposedly this ape-like ancestor looked like and what his family looked like. There's just so much artistic interpretation gone into these fossils that they find. It's ridiculous.
Oh man, there's so many missing links that you're talking about too that they've done that with. Oh, so many, it's unbelievable. The most recent ones are the ones that you know of, like the Hobbit. You know that one. The Hobbit's a good one because it's just a human, but because he's a pygmy, they go, look, he's short. He's in an in between stage. They did the same thing with Otabanga, the human one. But it's there's been so many that they've made that they've had to counter. They've had to come back and say, well, that wasn't real, but this one is, and we swear.
Yeah. This one's real. The other ones we admit were, oops. And as you know, Matt, we've talked about this so many times. A lot of their claimed best ones, like I think their two best ones they always bring up, is Australopithecus sediba and Homo habilis.
Right.
But now we know that they're nothing more than just artificial species. It's like a wastebasket of mixed bones. Oh, they find a bone of a human. But they don't quite know where it belongs, so they just throw it in the basket and call it Homo habilis. Then they find a bone of like an ape. They can't quite categorize it, so boom, it goes into the habilis basket. So now their best so-called transitions are just artificial species. They're not even real. It's just a mixed bones of human and apes.
They do it all the time, though. You guys have heard of Peking Man, right? That was a hoax. They never even found the bones again. How about Orc-Man? Remember Orc, O-R-C-E, Orc-Man? That was a proven fraud, deliberate too. It was actually a 4-month-old donkey skull.
Yeah, as if there was only one mistake that the evolutionists claimed.
Even Neanderthal looked like a Cro-Magnon pre-human.
Yeah, remember that?
Yeah, they've so many times.
Hey, by the way, guys,
the apes or something.
By the way, guys, I'm pretty sure that he who shall not be named is being seriously triggered right now in the chat.
Well, because we're calling out all the past evolutionary frauds.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't actually acknowledge whether or not what's actually being said because he doesn't actually exist to me. But I think that might be what is happening hypothetically.
Well, remember, he doesn't know the difference between a one-generation bottleneck and a multi-generation bottleneck. So I don't know how many more ways I can explain it to him.
Your debate back and forth with him about the alleles was cracking me up.
It's so funny because I got him to admit the correct definition at the start of the discussion, that an allele should be defined in terms of specific genetic location, right? And then he switched it around and contradicted himself when he realized that going by that definition refutes his argument. He decided to define it by gene unit. It's like, well, which one is it?
Yeah, those little things that don't fit the model. It's shocking. They don't actually exist. Kind of like he who should not be named doesn't exist. Yeah. All right, so it doesn't look like I just checked. Does not look like the debate is kicked off yet. So we got a couple more minutes. As soon as the debate kicks,
it's after 9. Yeah,
we'll wrap it up. Oh man, SFT. He who shall not be named says that obviously this is still a little over your head. Oh man.
Well,
How do you like them apples standing for truth?
Well, let's see if we can all understand it. So the out of Africa population bottleneck, they say, reduced the population of humans at the time, they say roughly 70,000 years ago, to between 2 and 10,000. Now, it wasn't just, the very next generation, that 2 to 10,000 just spiked in population and, rapid exponential growth was observed over the next 100 years. No. For roughly, I believe it's 1,000 years, Matt and I were discussing this before, that population stayed between 2 and 10,000. That's 1,000 years of inbreeding, rapid mutation accumulation, rapid genetic degeneration, because they always try and harp on our bottlenecks, right? Oh, your bottleneck at creation, your bottleneck at the flood. Yeah, those were one generation followed by rapid and exponential growth. And I don't understand why this is so hard to understand. But I think, as you were saying, John, yeah, sometimes they have to play stupid, I guess, to hold on to the worldview and the basic assumption. That could be what it is.
Well, and there's obviously the ongoing, which is being continued as we speak, but the refusal to comprehend the difference in the argument regarding the arc bottleneck. Yeah, the like, how is it any different for you? It's like, I don't know how many times I have to tell you this.
Well, this is going to be pretty interesting because with the DNA evidence, matching it up to all the genealogies that people have, it's going to all fit together pretty good, because I believe that even Nimrod can be identified as Y chromosome is C, because he's the son of Cush too. And you can follow his Y chromosome all through the Pacific Islands and everywhere to the Americas. And it's just a matter of time to me, is once they get all the evidence, the DNA evidence, is that they'll be able to prove Noah and his 3 sons, Japheth, and the 3 wives.
Yeah, the Y chromosome's great because it's just now being unraveled because it's so large, right? They've been dealing with the mitochondria because it's much smaller, but the Y chromosome, once that's fully
quick interjection for everybody in terms of like how small you're talking about. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the mitochondrial is only 37 genes, right?
Yeah, 37 genes with about 16,000 base pairs. The Y chromosome is something like I forget. Let's see.
It's massive, folks. It's massive.
Y chromosome base pairs. 57,200 no, my bad. 57,227,415 base pairs.
And that's the Y chromosome versus the mitochondrial, which is 37 genes. You said 60,000 base pairs?
16, only 16,500. Yeah.
Oh, 16,500 base pairs. Okay, not 60. 16. Okay. Yeah. So So I wouldn't be surprised if there's some genes in the Y chromosome that by themselves are more than 16,000 base pairs.
Right. Yeah, the size difference is astounding. That's why they work so much with mitochondria, and they've always taken little bits and pieces and chunks of the Y chromosome to get a date because it's just so large. They're like, there's no way we can really do it. But with the better technology gets and the better computers get, the more they can download different segments and upload them, and eventually they'll have the entire thing to map out. And that's kind of what they've done. That's why Dr. Jensen uses the high quality DNA. It doesn't mean it's higher quality. It means that there's more pieces of it. It means that it's better. You can look at it and see more of the region. So it allows you to see the ultimate view of something. You're not just getting little bits and fragments.
Yeah, to me, when you really think about the whole like, oh, we're getting chunks of 300 at a time, and then matching them up, like what? When you really think about that, of like, okay, you're piecemealing 300, 300, 400, 500 base pairs at a time in 57 million in just this one chromosome. And you're telling me you're not missing anything? Come on now. Okay, folks, it looks like debate is going live right now, so we're gonna wrap up over here. Everybody, hop on over. I'm about to click. I'm gonna put a link in the chat over to MDD for the debate. It's going over right now, so just click on that. Hop right over, and we will go check and see what goes down on MDD with Sal and Dr. Dan. Thanks for everybody for swinging by. Hope you enjoyed the pre-debate show, and make sure you hop on over to SFT after the debate for the after party. Have a good one, y'all. Thanks so much, and see y'all soon.
All right.
Shalom.